Caller ID Spoofing. Welcome back to Pushing Technology to the Limit. Today is going to be just a for your information only. And there's really not much you can do about this problem. And actually just last night I had somebody spoof my caller ID. Now let me just tell you what I've got installed here. I have switched from my Verizon phone service to an internet phone service. It has telemarketer blocking on it, and also for robotic calls, which is basically a computer calls your phone with a caller ID. Now this phone service that I'm with is UMA. I'm not out here to advertise them, but for the most part it works. I mean, it doesn't stop the spoofing, but it stops the telemarketer from calling in for most part. Except for this morning, while I made this video, I've actually did some research on the internet about caller ID spoofing. It was amazing stuff that I found out. And I've actually done a test, and I have spoofed my caller ID, fooled my phone company's blocking services, and they still got through. Now the only thing that is different about my home setup is that I have a PBX installed. Now there's only one reason why I've got a PBX installed. It's for the fact of keeping the phones from ringing if it's somebody that's like a computer call. It'll just go right to the answer machine. It's been a wonderful device. I'll show you that in a minute. I did the telemarketer blocking video probably about maybe a year or two ago, but this is slightly updated. I mean, this has nothing to do with spoofing, but I'm going to show you just a quick overview of if you're getting telemarketer calls, how to stop it, just a quick overview. I know I'm getting off the subject here about spoofing, but there's just some things that you need to know about these telemarketers and the spoofing that they're doing. So, get back to what happened last night. I was sitting at my computer, and a phone number called in, and I was right there because I saw it come up on my computer, and sure enough, it hung up. Well, it was a local number. Now, I've had a bunch of these come in from my hometown phone numbers, and a bunch of them that I've called back, because I call the phone numbers back, especially if they're local numbers, just to be sure that somebody didn't have a problem with getting through to us. And a bunch of them are dead. And what I mean by dead is that when there's a little message that comes up and says, you know, this phone number is no longer in service. Please try your call again. And the spoofers are doing, or the telemarketers are doing that, but they're also using some kind of spoofing service to get around the telemarketer stuff that's installed on the phone company. So, get back to what happened last night. I, saw that somebody called in. I recalled the phone number back, and it rang, and actually, the woman picked up, and I said to her, "Did you just call here at 4:46?" And she's like, "No, I think I spooked the poor lady out." And she's like, how did you get my number?" Like, well, it just came in on my caller ID. And she's just floored that I got her number, and she goes, "Oh, this is a private residence." And I said, "Well, I am too." And as part of spoofing, we've actually had this problem happen to us, where our number came up on our caller ID, and we're like, and this was back when we had Verizon, and so my folks called up Verizon and said, "Why is our phone number coming up on the incoming calls?" And they said that it was spoofing. And they said it's illegal to do that, but obviously the government isn't stopping anything. These callers from calling in, and these callers are coming in from other countries. And how did they get our numbers in the first place? I mean, yes, our phone number is in the phone book, but I mean, how does another country look up a U.S. phone number? I mean, I can't find somebody else's phone number unless I know who I'm looking for. And on top of that, we won't know if they're listed in the phone book. If it's a cell phone or like an internet phone service, you might not be able to look it up. But there's something that they're doing out there, and I have no clue about. I'm going to continue to look into this, and hopefully I'll be able to make some more videos on this once I learn a lot more about it. But I just want to let you know about this spoofing business that they're doing. And it's just weird how they're doing this. And I'm actually going to go upstairs and get on one of the spoof sites that I tested out earlier this morning and call my phone from the internet. And these guys have to pay some kind of service fee. I think one I tried was a first time call free, but and they're making these computerized phone calls through the internet. So it's not a phone service that's traditional like we have. This still just boggles my mind. I'm just putting this up just to warn people about all this stuff that's going on out there. And we don't know how much stuff that these crooks are getting off the internet from the U.S. citizens, or any citizens for that matter, in any other country. But it's more likely that they're just doing the U.S. I mean, I'm not sure if it's like Europe or anything like that has these problems as well, but I know that we have them. So let me go upstairs and I'll show you one of these spoof sites. And the video might be a little bit rough because it's going to be doing a screenshot with my camera. But I'm going to try to do it as good as I can to give you an idea of what I'm doing, give you an idea of what they're doing to call you. But at first, let me just show you the system I have set up. It'll be very short, and it is very easy to install. It's a little bit pricey, but I mean, $100. I mean, well, I'm not sure. I haven't really. The one that I bought was $179, but there's other ones out there that are a little bit less because there's not as many features as this one has. I wanted one that was feature rich, but most people that want to block telemarketers don't need a lot of features. And actually, I had a request from one of my friends to have me install one for him. Well, he hasn't gotten back to me just yet. So let me get to the equipment now and explain to you what's going on. Alright, so here's my UMA telephone boxes for the internet. Here's that PBX system that I was talking to you about. This switch is basically a phone switch to switch from voice service to a cell phone. And right here are all the phone connections. And basically this unit has about four phone lines in. Now I'm going to help you if you are deciding to get rid of your phone service to use the voice internet service. And there's just some precautions that you should take before doing this. So one of the things that you gotta be aware of is that you need to have good internet to do this. I have DSL. It's more advanced because it's 3 services coming in, I won't get into showing you all the equipment to do this, but if you want to do it, you can always get a hold of me to get some more information about how to do it. But with traditional landline service, it is always on unless the tree falls on your telephone line. With internet phone service, you always need to have power to have phone service. And if during a storm a tree falls on your phone line for DSL or your cable line and goes down, you would need to have a cell phone service instead to back up your voice over internet service. Now, there's a piece of equipment I've got, and I'll just quickly show you that once I'm up there, which is a Bluetooth cell phone converter, and it is really handy, and I've had to use it plenty of times when our phone was down. And there's not too many times that we've had our phone down, but it's gone down, and we've had to use the cell phone. So let me get back up to the upstairs and show you the other equipment and just the spoofing technique that these folks are using to get past the caller ID blocking stuff they got on the phone service. Now, one thing to note, that this PBX that I have is basically bulletproof, except for one time I've had one telemarketer call in because it was a human and they dialed the telephone extension. I thought, wow, because hardly telemarketers anymore are actually humans. They're all robot calls, computerized calls, and so that's the only time that I've ever actually had somebody get through that was trying to sell me something. But let me get to that other part of the setup here and to show you what you should do to get everything going. Now, as you can see, right here is the Bluetooth converter and my cell phone. Now, I only have the cell phone up this high just to show you that it's actually running, and this phone runs 24 hours a day on the charger. And once the phone goes down, I just switch the phone over, and this Bluetooth converter takes over for the cell phone, and we can make calls out on the normal phone as usual. So that is very simple, and I don't remember what I paid for it, but it's been a really sound investment, and I recommend this for you. And if you need the brand, I can get that as well. And I don't know about you folks, but the reason why the cell phone is up here this high, that this room is the only room that gets any cell service in the entire house. So if we have an emergency, this is where the cell phone and this Bluetooth converter sit, so that I can get cell phone service at any given time in the day. So now let's get over to that spoofing website. So here I am on Google, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but I got a search done called phone spoofing, and it comes up with some services, and actually it gives you a description of what phone spoofing is. And if you have, and I mean, who doesn't have internet these days anyways? With cell phones and wireless hotspots, I mean, you can get on the internet anywhere. So you can read that up for yourself if you want to know, but I'll give you a basic reading of what this says if you can't see it. It says, caller ID spoofing is the practice of causing the telephone network to indicate to the receiver of a call that the originator of the call is a station other than the true one, or true originating, or however you say that, station. Excuse me, but I can't read that one that well. Anyhow, I've got a website here that I clicked on. I don't know if they'll allow me to do it again, but I'll actually make a call out to my house. Now, one thing before I actually get started with showing you how the spoof works, what I've done with my computer, and this is actually a really nice program. It's a caller ID software, and it actually talks, which is really handy because I can actually hear the phone number without looking at my screen. And I have a couple of computers in the basement that are running 24 hours a day, and it has this software installed on it, and the speakers are running up here. So whether my working computers, the ones that I work on like this one, is running or not, I can still hear the call come in. And so let me show you how this thing works. The phone number I got highlighted is my spoof call that I did. And I made up a phone number. So let me get to a website and see if I can do that again. So this is not, and I'll just warn you right off the bat that this is not a video that I am showing you and trying to promote spoofing. That is not the purpose of this video. This is just to warn you what people do. Crooks. And I don't like it. But this is what they do. They go to a website like this. So it's just spoof tell. And so I've already got my numbers in here. So now, if I want to make up a phone number, I can do so. And when I do call it, it will come up on the screen, and you'll hear it in the speakers. So what do I want to make? Alright, so I basically made a fake spoof number. Which, instead of being whatever your area code is that you're watching this out of, it's a nothing area code. It's just 000, and it's 555112. That's not even a number. But I just wanted to show you that I can actually fool my UMA, which is running right now, to have this call come in. But the way that this answer machine is set up, or this PBX that I've got down cellar, it will actually reject the phone call if nobody can dial an extension. So you'll hear that answer machine come on as well. So I had to type the security code in. So now, I mean, you can change your pitch of your voice, the soundboard. I'm not sure what this is, but some kind of sounds effects things. Anyhow. So now let's hit place call and see what happens. Now they're going to ask me for my, sign up, username, credit card, and all that nonsense, but I'm not going to do it because I don't care. This is just showing you how these people do this stuff. Alright, so now it's making a call.
Call from 000555112 at 000555112.
I don't know if you heard that or not, but that's the call I just made. Oh, don't want that. Alright, so right here is the fake call I just made.
Leave your message at the tone.
And see, so now the answer machine just came on. And none of our phones rang. Right here's the phone. Nothing called in because that PBX wouldn't allow the phones to ring the way it's set up. So this is pretty a sweet operation. I don't have to deal with telemarketers anymore. And I don't know why it's still continuing to call in. It's ridiculous. So, good. That's off. So basically, that's what these spoofers do, is that they put in their own fake phone number, so you can't give them a call back and say, take me off your call list. Anyhow, that's how they do that. Well, that is how it's done. And there's fancier websites out there that will allow them to put your name and your phone number on the caller ID to fool the caller ID, so that when they call you, you're like, well, how'd they get that? Well, I can't really explain how they get it. I'm going to do a little more research on how they do get it. I'm only interested in just because I wanted to help you folks out, not because I want to be a crook and do that stuff. But it's just scary stuff sometimes, but we gotta just expose it. And you know, I don't know what else to do except you don't ever have a phone number. That's the only way to keep these guys from spoofing you, I guess. Is to go back in the dark ages with no phone, and I guess you have make a fire and send up smoke signals or something. That's the only way to stop these guys, is to not to have the modern technology. But I mean, really, who can do that? I mean, everything is done by telephone or the computer, so we're kind of stuck. But I'm just trying to let you folks know on what they're doing out there, so that if you're like questioning like I did, like, well, how'd that happen? Well, I really don't have too much of an answer for you, but I'm just showing you how they do it. So anyways, I'll see you next time on Pushing Technology to the Limit. Adios for now.